feels like a movie, baby.
Hi, this is AJ with Effect Radio here, and I have a special guest with us today. Christian hip-hop artist, speaker, songwriter, producer, wrote the Winter Jam Tour theme song, performed at the Dove Awards, and many of his songs have been featured in media coverage of sporting events such as the NASCAR, NFL, and of course, heard here on Effect Radio. He is our September Artist of the Month, who was previously known as Rawsrvnt. I'm sure if you've been an Effect Radio listener for long, you have heard of him. And just when myself and our listeners learned how to pronounce Rawsrvnt, he's now going by his given name. Let's welcome Eddy, pronounced Puyol, to Effect Radio. Hi, Eddy. Great to have you with us.
What's up, AJ?
Hey, it's good. You're in Florida, and you're not quite where the storm is, but weathering high winds.
Yeah. Thank God we definitely avoided Hurricane Ian, so that was good.
Wow.
We just got a lot of rain, a lot of wind, and we're kind of used to hurricanes and whatnot. So
yeah, it's a season.
We hunkered down and we were ready for it. But just thankful that it took off towards the West Coast. My prayers and obviously, heartfelt, sincere, apologies for the fact that storm went that way, because I got fam all over in the West Coast, Tampa area. From what I hear, doing okay, power outage kind of stuff, but nothing severe. So that's
okay. Well, definitely keeping Florida in our prayers. So to start off, I want to ask, why the name change after so many years of being Rawsrvnt? You're going by your given name, I believe, now. Why the name change?
It's one of those things that I probably should have done back when I did the Trump show. Mm-hmm. The ultimate merger with Omarosa and I'll Be Sure and all these other characters that were on the TV thing. I just kind of started getting more into the speaking and the production, and more than just rapping, and more than just being an artist. So I should have at that time probably pulled the trigger and used my name. But now with everything that's kind of happened in my life, where I'm just able to be a little more open and honest and transparent with real life situations and how the gospel kind of fares in between all those things, I just thought that Eddy Puyol was kind of the thing to do, man. Just share who I am and why I choose to rep the way that I do.
That's great. And within that kind of goes hand in hand with that. Did you find yourself like identifying differently, like you were Rawsrvnt in one aspect of your life and then you were Eddy in another? Like, did you have two different identities?
It's wild. It's like the who's who are you today, who are you not? So definitely taking off the artist hat throughout my career was really interesting, because you be on the road and you be known as Rawsrvnt, and then you get home and you're Eddy, or now that I'm a father, I'm dad, so that kind of played right into the fact that I wanted just to use my name. That's what people call me all the time. They call me Eddy, so I rather you call me Eddy as well versus my mom for Rawsrvnt. Rawsrvnt was great, and it was a dope opportunity to share who I am, what I'm about, and how I decided to serve God and people, which was raw. Still doing that today, but just under my name.
All right, I got you. That's great. And I have to say, I do kind of joke about it because I do a morning show with another DJ here, and he always goes Eddy Puyol, and I'm like, oh, you mean Rawsrvnt? So it's been a little bit of a transition for me too.
Hey, I get it. Listen, I'll always be Rawsrvnt. That's not going away. That's not going away.
Yeah.
I am definitely that guy. But it is nice. It is so nice to be able to go around and talk to people and say, hey, my name is Eddy, and they then look me up and go, oh, you do music too? Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So in your role of making music, we all have people we look to. Is there someone that has influenced you as an artist in your life, or an artist that you've looked up to that has encouraged you or just maybe influenced you when you were younger?
Oh, for sure. One specifically that has helped really navigate my career has been Petty D. Petty D has been my best friend for, going on almost 20 years. And just different things that he would tell me throughout our friendship, especially in the beginning. I was so gung ho about doing music and everything was about music. And I would call him from time to time and, bounce ideas off him or just talk to him about the music. And he would say, listen, Eddie, you don't just got to call me about the music. You can call me about whatever. You can call me about, hey, did you see that game last night?
Oh.
Or you can talk about life situations. So he helped me understand that we're still people.
Yeah.
I know we're gifted and we do this cool thing called music, but we're people. And kind of him sharing that with me helped me be able to start paying more attention to just building relationships with people, not necessarily like what I'm gonna get out of you or what you and I are gonna do together or what I'm gonna do for you or vice versa, any of that. It's just we're people,
Yeah.
which fares into the gospel, love God and love people. So
Yeah.
definitely salute to the OG Petty D,
Cool.
who has been a longtime friend and a huge influencer in my music career.
All right. So within that, where do you find your inspiration? And I know you're a Christian hip hop artist, but I'm sure we go through seasons of our life where we feel closer to God than other times. How do you get your inspiration? How do you keep going? Because you've been doing music for a while now.
Yeah, most definitely. I look at music to me as life. It's like you live it, so you need a soundtrack for life for that season. When you're happy, you play a happy song. When you're motivated or want to be motivated or inspired, you play an anthem type track. When you're not feeling so hot, you play a sad record. And then if you want to give thanks to God, you put on a worship jam. So I think that life's living life has a theme behind it as well. So I try to kind of like put that into my art, kind of create theme music for the different seasons that I'm living, whether it be, talking about a fallout in a relationship with Getaway to my stance and what I'm going to do throughout my life, which is walk with God, or even, going and saying, hey, man, my faith and my love for God is on an all-time high. So I'm on fire, down to the record I wrote specifically for my kids, Forever Love, so that they knew that, hey, listen, I love you no matter what, and all the time will I love you, and you will be my forever love. So I find inspiration by living life.
Yeah.
And in living it, you are able to draw so much inspiration from things that you go through. And I'm not afraid or ashamed to talk about what has happened in my life or what I've done, even in the record Sigue Palante, where I talk about, how I grew up and what went down in life. My kids repeat it all the time. Not that it's the best line, but they go, kicked out the house, kicked out the school, got hemmed up and acted a fool,
Yeah.
But I had to think quick and pick music over fast living so that I could keep living, and that's the message. So yeah, I got caught into some things, but look, I found the right way to go, and that's what you should be focusing on.
Yeah, and I have to say I felt that with your songs, because you have the ones like the Forever Love, where you have for your daughters, and then you have Father I Trust Ya, Never Lose, To the Moon, all of those that are fairly new tracks that you can tell that they are related to seasons in your life. And
Oh, for sure.
yeah. So
I think, not to cut you off, but I think that like Never Lose to me was such a dope record to write, because I was sitting over here watching the Packers play the Bucks
Yeah.
last year ago. And I was with my kids, and I was like, man, I need to come up with a song. I was just kind of inspired watching the football game, and I scrolled through my phone and listened to the beats that a couple of my friends would have sent me, and finally I pressed play on this one. I was like, yo, I like this record right here, and I just started writing, and I came up with that "never lose, only win," and I was like, ooh, that's a dope line. That's a dope like startup line, and then I got to all gas, no brakes. All gas, no brakes. And I said, oh man, that's a dope tagline right there.
Yes, it is.
So the more that I kept doing it, all of a sudden, my daughter Olivia, while she was drawing, just like she's doing now, she was drawing on a table, and she heard me say those words. And as the beat kept playing, without me even saying it, she goes, all gas, no brakes. All gas, no brakes. And I looked at her, I said, you like that, baby? She smiled real big. She goes, yeah. It was like that. I just knew it. That was going to be a dope record. And it definitely has been one that not only fuels and inspires people when they're listening to it, it drives home on the field, off the field. When I do it live, I just got done doing a chapel at this Christian school in Ocala, and they went nuts every time they hear that record. It's all gas, no brakes. They're screaming at the top of the lungs. So, a lot of the things that I said in that song is exactly what I mentioned. I talked about, push hard, pray harder, focused on raising my daughters. Got no time to waste time. I take time to make sure they live life out lavishly. You know what I mean? Like just putting emphasis into this is my life. I'm living it. You are just a listener listening to me living my life and me sharing about it. You know? So, Father, I trust you. Same thing, an anthem and a statement that I'll forever hold to, and something that we're praying for all the people that have been impacted by Hurricane Ian. Down to the moon. To the moon is just a love record, where I'm feeling good. I'm allowing myself to fall back in love again, and I'm with somebody that I really love, and it's inspiration that I draw from in my life. So that's what you get.
Yeah. And with that, you talked about your kids singing your songs, and I really appreciate, as a mom myself, Christian hip hop artists, because kids just love hip hop, rap, and it's great to have a good message because they do repeat everything they hear. You know that you have kids, so and some things it's like, oh no, but listening to the radio, and they do repeat. My kids really, the one that you had with your daughters, "Daddy, I love you," that line. And my little boy uses that all the time on me, like, Mama, I love you, just that little line that he hears in the song. So it's encouragement as a mom myself to have lyrics that you use and to inspire kids, teenagers, people of all ages. So I appreciate that too.
I want to chime in on that. I appreciate that. It's real. And what's so cool about kids repeating everything, when I wrote that record, I remember doing it for my kids and practicing it before I went to record it and produce it. And as I would sing to my kids, I would always say, just the line in the hook, baby, I love you. You're my special girl. And my youngest, Olivia, would go, Daddy, I love you. It's my special dad. I go, yo, because she would sing it back to me as I was singing it to her.
Yeah.
And I just knew that we had to include that somehow in the record. And of course, my sweet Ava, who I love dearly, she just has the best laugh. When she gets a laugh going, man, it's the best. So I was in the studio and I just loved on her, gave her a bunch of kisses and tickled her, and that's what you get. You get her laughing at full tilt all the way.
That's great. So I have to ask about how you started music, and I know that you wrote a song, This One's For You. Does that have something to do with how you started music?
That is my career all the way. That's like how I started rapping. I started the record rapping on the block with my homie Jay in the 8th grade, screaming out, "Gotta get saved." Like that really happened. I
Wow.
was really singing with my best friend Jason at this church called Word of Life. That's why at the end of the verses I go, "Word of Life, tape still, got your
Oh.
boys singing like." It happened like this. My mom and I went to this non-denominational church called Word of Life. And when I walked into the youth group, I saw these guys on stage rapping, and I'm like, "Yo, I can do that." So I looked at my mom and I said, "Hey, mom, I think I could rap. I like to rap." She goes, "For real?" And I said, "Yeah." She said, "You serious?" "Yeah." So then she ends up calling or going up to the momager at that time, Mary Squire, and said, "Hey, my son wants to rap." She said, "Bring him in." Next thing I know, I was on stage with the guys, and then we started like doing gigs around town and in different spots here in Florida. And we had this song called "Gotta Get Saved," where we talked about if you want eternal life, you gotta get saved. Like, it was
That's great. Right
it
to
was
the
one of those
point.
things, right to the point. So, when I had the idea sitting right here, in my kitchen on the bar area, I go, man, I remembered listening to this recording of a song that I did for Mary back then called "This One's for You." And I had this idea like, yo, what if I sample my voice and make it go, this one, this one, this one,
Hmm.
this one's for you. And I said, let me try it. So I got on the computer, started making the record, kind of gave the idea out. And as I'm just listening to it, before you even heard how it sounds for you, just the beat and the sample, I go, yo, and I started telling my story. And that's where first line that came out of me, rapping on the block with my homie Jay in the 8th grade, screaming out, "Gotta get saved." So I talked about my story right there. And in verse 2, I meant every word I said. Decades later, I'm still doing my thing. From hammer pants that we used to wear back in the days to Sunfest, which was this big event here, a big mainstream event here in Palm Beach County that I did as a Christian artist, which is really kind of wild because they're used to having more like you know Lil Wayne or
Yeah.
Pitbull or any of those kind of Ziggy Marley, any kind of artists like that in the rap rock world, reggae too. Anyway, so from Hammer Pants to Sunfest to the USA to hearing Game Changer all around the globe, still making my dreams happen, man, it never gets old. So this one's for you would be my rap autobiography, and that's why the video is that way, where we draw from a lot of inspiration from my life feeling like a movie.
Well, that's great. Well, it's a good jam. We enjoy it. So thanks for that. So you might have already told me with that, but what was the best song that you think you've done, either as Rawsrvnt or Eddy? What's the best one? Mind blown. Oh no.
Um, so I have this playlist that I put together. You
Hmm.
can find it on Apple, on Spotify, on Pandora, on YouTube, multiple different spots, called Vibes and Visions.
Okay.
And I hand selected 20 records that, if I were to say, hey, this is kind of what I've done, check it out, or I do music, listen to me, or you've never heard of me, press play. That's Vibes and Visions.
Yeah.
And a lot of the songs that are on there are the ones that I go, man, if I was stuck on an island and this is all I had, I would have enough, to be able to jam and find the different moods. It's got everything from Never Lose to Yes to the Moon, to Father I Trust You, to This One's for You, to On Fire, to my reggae jams, The Almighty, even the one I wrote for my girls, Forever Love. The big song Shut It Down that did so well in the sports world, There Go That Man, which was the theme song for the NBA draft. Like I've done a lot of stuff.
You have.
So like even thinking about it when I tell you that, like I've done a lot, and my music has been able to impact many. So it's been very cool to see. But to pick a certain jam and a specific one,
A little difficult.
I leave that up to you.
Well, I do. It sounds like Effect Radio playlist, the vibes and visions that all those songs we have or have had on Effect Radio at some point. One of my favorites that I found back when I started music directing here, going through some of the old tunes, was the cover of I Got a Feeling, the cover by the Black Eyed Peas. I'm like, this is better than the original because it's about Jesus, and I love the original by the Black Eyed Peas. I'm guilty there. But your version, I was like, wow, that's a good one. And I think I remember you saying something about someone said that they stole your song or like because they were so much similar.
Yes, that's exactly what I told you. Very good memory. It legit happened that way where a friend of mine's kid was listening to the radio and all of a sudden that song came on. And then he goes to his mom and says, Mama, that's not the way that Eddy's song is. Who just did that one? That's not Eddy's song.
That's not right.
The person that did Eddy's song.
Something's wrong.
Like that way. I don't like that way to play Eddy's song. So yeah. That was cool. That's a compliment. Thank you, AJ. And that's something, something as a music lover myself, because I do love music. I mean, I've been listening to music forever and a day. So I grew up on everything from, Sade to Michael Jackson to Marvin Gaye to Santana to Gloria Estefan to Celia Cruz to you name it. So my family did a great job of kind of raising me in the music, and then hip hop. Run DMC, Fat Boys, Beastie Boys, anyways. So I really enjoy being able to do music. And when I go after writing somebody else, like taking a spin on somebody else's song that they did, that is quite a feat because, you're respecting the art of the artistry that was already done. So how can you take it and put a spin to it and not like just sound karaoke-ish? Yeah. So I'm glad that you like what I did to Black Eyed Peas because that song was a monster. And what was also pretty cool? Is I mashed two different songs together, Black Eyed Peas and Hillsong's Take It All. And we did it because at my home church here in Palm Beach at Christ Fellowship, we were doing this block party. And they wanted to reach, unchurched kids. So I said, well, we can't come at them with a worship tune that we're just going to think that everybody's going to sing. And then it's all, peaches and cream. Like we got to come at them. So why don't we take something that they know and then let me work in something that we do here and put both of the worlds together. So when I smashed it, it did so well at the event that's when I decided to record it and put it out there. And then I find out that Hillsong and Israel Houghton ended up doing that kind of spin on that record as well, where they took I Got a Feeling while they were doing Take It All. So
that's great.
You inspire so many people that you don't even realize,
All right. So this I don't know if you could answer or not, but I'm going to throw it at you. Who would you like to do some music with that you haven't yet?
Oh,
I can hook you up. Just kidding.
one on my list, because I love and respect him. Not only as an artist but as a man, and I've been able to watch him for so many years do great things, and I've had dope interactions with him at different events. That would be Toby Mac.
Yes.
I really dig the guy's swag, man. And he's one of those guys that I've always looked up to. I remember meeting him specifically backstage. I think it was 2009 when Winter Jam, I first did the theme song for Winter Jam, and they picked it up and they started using it in the arena. Well, I went to one of the arenas to listen to the way that my song sounded in the arena. And I'm sitting backstage and Toby's over here, stage right. So I walked over to him. What's up, Toby? You know what's happening? And he goes, hey, what are you doing here? Just kind of like curious, like what? I said, man, I wanted to hear how my song, quaked in the arena. He goes, wait a minute, that's you? Yeah. And he goes, man, I really like the way it sounds. And he says, I like the way you put auto-tune on it. It's not, too heavy, but it's just right. It's just enough. He goes, I've been thinking about using auto-tune too in my records. And I go, yo, bro, I think you would sound great. Put it on there, man. It'll sound dope. Next thing you know, that's all we hear out of Toby, man. Auto tune, press it on all the way up. So super cool cat. I would say him. Let me see. Hip hop wise, a guy that I really dig music wise. Obviously, Lecrae, salute to him, man. So thankful for all he's done. But it would be his protege, Andy Mineo.
Yes.
I like Andy's styles. Andy comes at it from such a real life perspective in music, very similar to what you mentioned I do, and I would say I do. And it's been really cool to watch him be very open and transparent with his life. And he's got dope melodies, catchy hooks. So it'd probably be Toby and Andy. That would probably be the guys that I would go, that would be cool if I did work with those two dudes.
That sounds like a good plan. I think all three of them together. Let's do a remix of "Got a Feeling" and "Coming in Hot" and
there you go.
That would be great. So thank you for spending time with us. I would like to leave the listeners with what would your last message to the listeners be about what is your main goal in your music career, and how do you want the listeners to feel encouraged by your music? What do you want them left with?
Well, I would say for sure, God loves you with a love that won't go away, and there's nothing that you can do to change that. I know for sure that his love will, accept you just the way you are, but he will accept you just the way you are, but his love will not leave you the way it found you. So lean in on God's love, good, bad, and indifferent. When you are high or when you're low, he's got you. Trust him. Like I say in my record, Father, I trust you. In every situation I go through, I may not know the outcome, but I know I can trust you. And that's a real powerful statement that I anchor my whole life on. But I may not know how life is going to be handled and how everything's going to go. But I know for sure one thing remains, that God loves me with a love that won't go away. And there's nothing I can do to change that. And because of those two facts, I know that God will take care of me, and he will make sure that the outcome that needs to be will be for my best interest, because he has my best interest in mind.
That's great. I think that was perfect to leave our listeners with. Well, thank you, Eddy, for your time. Thank you for the great interview. It's great to see you face to face, talk to you, and share your thoughts with us, our listeners, myself. Thank you. I appreciate it so much.
No doubt. Effect Radio, I love you. Real talk, you guys are my favorite radio station worldwide, hands down. Salute to AJ and the whole crew. Much love. Keep it on lock right here.
All right. Thank you, Eddy. You have a blessed and amazing day. This is AJ on Effect Radio.